wasn't a Bronco.
All right.
I listened and I obeyed. I came in here yesterday and prayed for the church, prayed all around the church, prayed for everybody, and sat in the office back there doing my message. It's flowing so easily. And then when I left here, I was all happy because I'm all done. No, driving home, God said, you got to give a testimony.
Oh, no.
So I almost wanted to be a Bronco and buck and kick, but it's all right, all right. So I'm going to have you guys turn to Mark, St. Mark, chapter 1. And this title is Fisher of Men. Yeah, St. Mark, chapter 1, verse 16 through 19. I'm fighting a head cold, so bear with me if I lose my voice and stuff. 16 through 19. Y'all ready?
Yes.
Okay. Jesus calls 4 disciples. Now, as he walked by the Sea of Galilee, he saw Simon and Andrew, his brother, casting a net into the sea. They were fishers, and Jesus said unto them, Come ye after me, and I will make you to become fishers of men. And straightway they forsook their nets and followed him. And when he had gone a little further thence, he saw James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, also were in the ship mending their nets. And straightway he called them, and they left their father Zebedee in the ship with the hired servants, and they went after him. Jesus called servants, to call them to be his disciples. That's what we are. Mm-hmm. We are Jesus' disciples. If we're Christians, we're his disciples. Mm-hmm. And we are called to do the same as Simon, and whose name is also Peter. God changed it to Peter. Andrew, James, and John, and all the other disciples. We're the same. That's our calling. That is what we are Christians for, saving souls. And to be a fisher of men, that calls for us to follow him and do the Lord's work, to become his disciples. We have to get out of being conformed to the world. We cannot accept what the world says is right if God says it's wrong. God's words is right here, right and wrong, we know. And if God's, the world is not our home. We don't belong here. It's not our home. We must step out and truly follow Christ. That means you have to be willing to put everything behind you. Everything. And follow Christ and do his work. We must be willing to labor for God. You know, in Matthew 9, 37, 38, I'll read it to you, but you can write it down. The harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. Amen. People don't want to labor and bring souls in. They're comfortable sitting in the church, thinking they're all good and looking pretty and a holy person. Your actions speak. Your actions speak. So, but I truly believe that many Christians today can't be true fishers of men because we won't let go of everything like we're supposed to. Many of us are still holding on to past hurts. Some even are holding on to traumas. And with this, you know, I told you before, when God gives a pastor a message to give to the people, it's for us first. We have to soak it in and accept it and obey it first. Then we can give it to the church. So this is where I was being a Bronco, or almost was. I just kicked a couple times and sat down. God told me, you have to tell a testimony before you can tell them to be fishers of men, because I have an issue. And so he has been letting me see a police officer's face from back in Louisiana, from a small town. He's been letting that face come up to me a lot. I thought I was done with that, over with that. I was good. Forgot it. And this was 30 years ago. Well, with this police officer, you know, every time I would see on TV the rioting for all the bad cops, what they're doing to innocent people, killing people, not necessary. But every time I would see on TV this rioting, I would feel anger come over me. And I was angry. I think I was angry with the rioters too, because I was thinking, they're not the only ones that's been done bad by police. I had an issue with a police officer when I was 18 years old. He was one of my best friend's boyfriend. And I was waiting for my best friend, another best friend, to get off work. She worked at a restaurant and a bar. And I was sitting there waiting for her to get off work. And this police officer, I want to say his name so bad, but I won't. He was there. So I was waiting for her to get off work and trying to kill time. He was there and he said, well, why don't you just come for a ride with me? We'll just kill some time till she gets off work. My mistake. I did. I got in the car with him. And he drove and went down a country road. I don't know where I was at. And he did attack me. And this is a police officer. He didn't get full enjoyment because he picked the wrong one. He picked a Bronco.
Okay.
And he picked a future pastor.
Yes.
So that Bronco did kick and hurt him. And he never apologized. He just kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Well, he didn't say I'm sorry. He said, I can't help myself. I can't help myself. I wanted you for a long time. I want you. Well, like I said, he got a hold of a Bronco. But he did, eventually was able to drive again and take me to my car, to where my friend was working. I go in the restaurant and my friend just knew right away, what happened to you? And I told her what happened. This is a police officer. And I would say, every time I see these riots, I said, why isn't anybody rioting for the women? That these police officers are doing this to women. I mean, it was just horrible. And that was my issue. And God is telling me, you can't be a fisher of men if you still have this in your heart. And you have to understand. He gave me this. You have to understand this, dearly beloved. Avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord.
Amen.
And he also gave me the other one. See where it is on my markers. He gave me this. To me, this is Deuteronomy 32:35. To me belongeth vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in due time. For the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste. And so we have to let go of anger. We have to forgive people. And like God says, vengeance is mine. Vengeance is mine. And no, I didn't have the rioters out there rioting for me, where I had a little envy there. And that wasn't right either. I mean, but God told me, vengeance is mine. Then he told me, when you start writing this and you're going to speak, you need to go out on the internet and look him up. I did, and when I got on the internet to look him up, not only was he the police officer in the little town, but he became chief of police. So I'm like, oh God, why are you showing me this? It's starting to get really ready to buck. I mean, why are you showing me this? But he says, read on. And I'm reading. Chief of police arrested. Chief of police sentenced 46 months in prison. Chief of police charged with unlawful possession of a firearm, sawed-off firearm, serial number scraped off. That's illegal.
Right.
I always thought he was above law. Got away with everything. Chief of police arrested. Possession of drugs, selling drugs. Police and chief arrested. Domestic violence. That one didn't surprise me. But to let you know how long this took. This happened when I was 18 years old. It took 30 years. This didn't happen to him until 2012. It took 30 years. But vengeance is God's. And God's timing is not our timing.
Right.
So, I asked Pastor Ken, is it okay to celebrate when you finally don't have to eat popcorn anymore? He's like, yes, but you have to forgive. I have forgiven. I've seen his picture, and then I see the 46 months, and I'm questioning God. 46 months, that's it? That's all? But he said, do you really want to see what happens to a police officer in prison?
Yeah.
Do you want to see it? And I thought for a minute, I said, no, I don't want to see it. So, that is my story. So, now I can be a true fisher for men because I have truly forgiven. And we are going to be facing men like this. We're going to be facing dirty people like this, but we have to forgive them. And like God says, they're still my son. Still my son. So I had to forgive and love him. We have to do that. And we have to be ready for all kinds out there. And I'm ready to be a fisher of men. Are y'all?
Amen.
Are you? Do you have anything you're holding on to that you won't let go? You have to let it go before you can truly say you'll be a fisherman of men. Fisher of men. You cannot be a fisher of men if you're holding something deep inside of you. It must be out. You've got to let it go. Give it to God. He'll set you free. 30 years is a long time to eat popcorn.
Yeah.
To me, but to God it wasn't. God knew what he was doing. And it just happened yesterday, he let me see it. Yesterday, all these years. I thought he always got away. And I didn't need rioting for that. God took care of it. Vengeance is God's. So, and I'm going to leave you with this last little word. Vicky Yohe, I don't know if y'all know who she is, but she's a singer, a Christian singer and pastor. But I love this. She wrote this today. Don't judge my breakthrough until you know my been through. I thought that was perfect. We all have been through. Yes?
Amen.